Ina ma'am, if we want to have a competitive, we must have a skill. MSME only can competitive if they have a skill manpower with them, and then only they can be a competitive. A lot of inputs I got from today's program from our speakers, very rightly pointed out by Lina ma'am regarding the MSME. As of now, MSMEs are not very much organized. That at the same time, she told that in near future, MSME required 15 million skilled workers, and where these workers will can we can get. So, white collar employment can be generated. It is already available in the market, but blue collar and gray collar skilled manpower, it is always shortfall for the industry, which we have observed. Regarding industrial clusters through strive, very rightly pointed out by the Lina ma'am, stating that there are not an appropriate support from the MSME organizations like clusters for the clusters. But why it happens, that is also very much important thing need to be discussed over here. All the MSME as of now, they are trying to survive themselves after the pandemic. So in every clusters need to have some investment from the MSMEs. So there are percentage of the contribution from MSME which is at very high portion, and I think due to that reason, the MSME associations are not in position to be a part of that kind of clusters. Regarding the sandwich courses, which what we have discussed by Mr. Manoj Barve about the German perceptions, I think with that perception only, now ITIs have come up, very rightly pointed out by Mr. Amey. Previously, it was 1 or 2 months on-job training was required. And now after having an inputs from the MSME, I think government ITI has taken a decision. Now the sandwiches courses will be run by them. Now on-job training will be taken place for 6 months. I think that is the way only people can contribute from MSME, because for 1 or 2 weeks, the MSME, they cannot afford this kind of on-job training, because during the time, this these students, they get some inputs about the industry, and they cannot be employable during that time. So if they can work for 6 months in that particular MSME, definitely, as very rightly said by the Mr. Barve, in Germany, around 74% of that on-job training people can get absorbed in that industry. The same thing can be happen in India if this kind of practices can be taken places. Another thing is that, so our honorable Prime Minister has declared that in 2025 we must have a 5 trillion economy. That capability India has. But when MSME will get strengthened, and if MSME will get strengthened, only and only if skilling will take place. And I think government has taken a lot of initiative since last 4 5 years. I have been associated with several MSME organizations as well as the skill development organizations, and I have seen a lot of changes. I have seen a lot of policy changes, in particularly in this field, and we sure that at least at the MSME, we are assuring that If we can get this skilled manpower, we will be definitely a backbone for the large scale industry as well as for this economy. Another thing which have been told by the mayor, students they get the exposure in MSME widely. They work very closely in MSME. Yeah, it's very true because in MSME only 10 or 15 people they are working together, and that's why this on-job trainee will get an exposure to understand various department, various operations, and I think that's the way he can get skilled as early as he can, and he can be a good employable student for the industry. Another thing which is very very important today, if we can go for that, everybody is saying there is unemployment. And at the MSME, if we can see, we will say we don't get an appropriate employee. So why this is happening? Because what I have observed during last 10 years, there are campus interviews taken place in polytechnic colleges, in engineering colleges. Some of the colleges, they get good campus interviews. Some students, they get a very good packages also, and that becomes a benchmark for each and everybody. So that's why people, even though they don't have that capability, but they always compare that package, that benchmark, and that's why they are not ready to work. And I think this is the very vital point which has to be discussed, need to be work on it. Why the people they are looking only on for that? People they don't want to work for MSME, they are looking for the only large scale industry. And I think we need to change our mindset. With this, we can only generate a good employment for the India. I think with this, I would like to conclude my uh, opening remark. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Santosh. I think this has been very, very useful. In fact, I have one more question to ask you actually, because you run an ITI specifically dedicated to girls. And it is apparent that you've achieved a lot of success, outperformed it against other ITIs. We would really love to know what has been the differentiating factors in your ITI, which is the girl-centric ITI, and how other ITIs are not able to do what you're doing. It will be very useful to understand that, sir.
Sure. I think Leena ma'am, she will agree with me. When the ITI you took as an PPP, uh, public-private partner for that particular idea, you have to understand that if you can give an appropriate time, if you can give an appropriate inputs, if you can work together with them, then and then only you can take that assignments. Otherwise, you should not. So, in particularly in my ITI, when I gotten this opportunity from government of India as well as from government of Maharashtra, I took that initiative. I used to visit that ITI at least 2 to 3 times in a month. I spent 4 to 5 hours, particularly on those days. I understand them. See, basically, we have to change their mindset of that particularly uh, government red tape mindset that we have to need to change from them. And what I have practicing since last 7 to 8 years, I went there, I made them, and it's very rightly said by the Mr. Manoj Barve, upskilling and reskilling of the trainer. That is very much important. I tried to connect with them. They should not feel that this is a very different kind of identity come over here. I work with them as a part of that ITI, discuss with them their difficulties, our suggestions, and we work very closely. And I think if they have that kind of attitude, definitely your ITIs, and rightly work hand to hand, and we can achieve a lot after that. And that's the way I tried it, and I'm getting a good result out of it. Yesterday we had a regional level fashion show for government ITIs. I think this was the first time in Department of Skill Development of Government of Maharashtra. They have taken this kind of initiative. On from this platform, I would like to congratulate Verma Madam, then Director Mr. Dalvi, and their entire team to have this kind of different kind of thoughts in their mind. The ITI girls, those who are getting the training for the fashion designing and dressmaking, after having that knowledge, they get a platform where they show their uh, intelligence and their what you can say their performance. And it was a fabulous yesterday. And on 15th, they are having this show in Mumbai for the entire Maharashtra's ITI. I think these are the way these people they are trying to get change themselves and trying to become more professional. I think this is the way only we can achieve. As very rightly pointed out by Mr. Manoj Barve, if we want to become a good skill trainer, we should have this kind of experiences in this.
Thank you so much, Santoshi. I think you rightly said Dalvi sir has been in the skill ecosystem. ITI is related for now entire his life. I think I met him at Mumbai last month, and very, very knowledgeable, very connected to the roots kind of a person.
Actually, he's a very practical guy.
Very practical guy, very practical. And in half an hour, I could understand so much about the entire ecosystem, which I think I would have taken months to really understand. Manisha ma'am, of course, is very, very action oriented, and I think thanks to her that a lot of stuff is happening on the ground. So thanks for sharing these insights. There's a question from a YouTube audience which I would like to pose to Leena ma'am. I think it's also covered by her partly. The question says that what's your take on the internal processes to be streamlined for MSME companies, including HR, which unfortunately is not given enough importance by them? And since you have access to so many MSMEs who work for Bharat Forge, would love to hear from you, Leena ma'am. What could be the right answer and things that need to be done on the ground?
Yeah, sorry, I missed the first sentence of yours.
So the question says, what's your take on the internal processes to be streamlined for MSME companies, including HR, which unfortunately is not given enough importance by MSMEs?
As I was describing it in my presentation also, it's a dilemma all the time. Because priorities, to setting up priorities is a problem. That sometimes finances and survival issues are so intense that other factors like having separate person for HR, having proper processes, knowledgeable person who is setting up the processes, or they become next priority, second priority as such. And in such cases, definitely the mentor organization, if they are working for large-scale industries or for skilling ITI kind of setup, they have to take this help. And the most important way today we can all think about that under CSR, skilling is one of the areas, major areas, and employee volunteering is also one of the major areas. Why not to take help of employee volunteers who are working in established organization as a consultant or as a person to set up the processes? And definitely volunteers will help, because our employee volunteers, they go to school also and they help them when teachers are not available. They teach the students. Why not to teach, or why not to set up the processes of the upcoming business or upcoming startup, or maybe micro, medium, small business. Definitely, this way we have to in fact think about it, and this will work according to me.
Sorry, thank you, Deenaji, for this answer. I have a question for Mr. Manoj. Since we can see that a lot of work from German gets transferred to a lot of other countries which aspire to adopt to their skilling ecosystems best practices. How have you seen this transition into India? We saw the graphs that you showed that the skill development initiatives by the government of India has shown an impact, but a long way to go, like you mentioned. But is there sufficient activities happening between the two governments to adopt to what the German skilling ecosystem has to contribute?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we recently had intergovernmental discussions. Mr. Modi was, Prime Minister Modi was there, not yesterday, that was for G7, but in the beginning of May, I think. And there they have undertaken a lot of cooperation programs. It could be on research, it could be on digital technologies. Similarly, there are things which are on education and training, scaling. And when Germany decides something to have in its intergovernmental discussions or as agenda, then there is a program behind it. So they have this Go with Vocational Education and Training International. There is an organization behind it. There is BIBB, which is again a government department, is there. Indo-German Chamber of Commerce in India is also pushing for learning from those platforms. There are companies like, we used to give the example of Bosch, which 4-5 years ago decided to adopt 50 ITIs in Maharashtra. But I'm really glad to hear that companies like Bharat Forge and Tata and others are also doing these things. So it can be discussed, how the German government is offering certain ideas, certain funding, and how we can take it, how we can work upon it. That needs to be discussed so that we can benefit even further from that.
Okay. Thank you. I think we are reaching towards the end of our session. So last 5 or 10 minutes. So I would like to ask one top, let's say, initiative for each of the 3 stakeholders, which is the training ecosystem, the employer ecosystem, and the government. So I would like to ask all 3 of you if you can share one key initiative that all 3 needs to undertake in the next years to come, so that the MSMEs adoption of skilled workforce and their own productivity improvement can be achieved. Maybe we can start with Mr. Santosh. So one initiative.
Yeah, I think Mr. Manoj has given this inputs to me about the MSME. Quality product can be sold at very good price.
Correct.
As German people are doing since so many years.
Yes.
So in India, if we really want to strengthen the MSME, so it means they want to have a good opportunity to make a good profit. They have to have a skilled manpower. If they have a skilled manpower, definitely they will produce a good quality product, and definitely they will come with the good product. Of course, not like Germany, but like India, we can earn a good profit, and we should make this habit to India. Thank you.
Right, sir. And sir, anything that you would like to address from the government side? What should be the push from their side to spur this ecosystem into adopting skilled manpower?
Yeah, actually, a lot of initiative has been taken by the government of India and government of Maharashtra also. See, there are some policy need to be revisited, because now they have come up with this sandwich course, like 6 months people should work in industry and they should 6 months they will be in institute. At the same time, they have given some certain criteria for that. They can go for the MSME, those who are having this much of turnover since last 3 years, they are in existence. Then what about the startups? What about the newcomers? Whether they can get this kind of manpower or not. So they have to have some thoughts in their mind, in their policy, if any good startup is there, because startups also required a good manpower, and that need to be worked out very well. So whenever this kind of policy will take place, exceptions should be there and it should be incorporated. These are the way. And fortunately, the Manisha Verma madam and Dalvi sir, they are very positive. If we can give and if appropriate inputs to them, they are taking an initiative with that, and we may get some benefit out of it. Thank you.
No, very, very good point, sir. Very good point. Manoj sir, your views on one initiative that the ecosystem of MSME should take to get more skilled manpower into their fold, and one initiative from the government side and one initiative from the training side, very quickly.
I mean, we need to change our mindset. I mean, first thing is that this dignity of labor. I mean, government should do something in that direction. I mean, a lot of people, they aspire to become, academicians. They become MBAs, they become engineers, but it's not all practice oriented. So, and we need these people. I mean, we need skilled people a lot. Maybe we don't need so many engineers, but we need machine operators and all. So that is extremely important, which government can take initiative, increasing awareness, giving it a social acceptance. In that direction, something needs to be done. There are certain very good initiatives which so Santosh has also mentioned, or Dr. Leena has also said. I have seen one Delhi-based plumbing organization. They give prizes, and they publicize it also in media. So that is extremely important. And like Santosh ji has again said, that MSMEs can train the apprentices much better way than large companies. They can get a lot of hands-on, and MSMEs also depend on them. It's not that it's not a luxury which they have when they hire some apprentices. So it's both ways, and MSME also have to understand that these are the resources which are going to be important for us. And then again, the loyalty. I mean, there I don't have a solution. The problem which MSMEs as well as large companies face is that we train them and then they go to competition or whatever. So how that can be ensured with some kind of bond or something? I mean, it has to come from within, but then finally you have to have some external tools also to hold them, so that you train them and you also benefit from them for a couple of years.
Good points. Good points. So loyalty.
I would like to one point in this. Actually, the thing is that very rightly pointed out by Mr. Barbe, there was an thought in my mind, my employee, I can spare 1 hour from the industry, from my organization. He can spare 1 hour from his time. So we will give a training for 2 hours. We will pay all the training fees, whatever it is. But we need to have an agreement or something, confidence from him. So after having that training, he should work at least for 2 to 3 years for the organization. Otherwise, we will invest our time, we will invest our money. After getting his training, he can fly over. So what is the use? So I think we should work on this also. So we should give the inputs.
So you're saying that a policy in this direction should be made, which should not be construed as prohibitive policy, so that you are constraining the freedom of a person to choose another job. You are trying to say that a policy should come out, which should say that if the company is investing, MSME is investing in you, it is your moral duty to remain with them and let them enjoy the benefits of that investment in you. That's what you're saying.
We don't say like that. It should be remain forever with us. but at least for 2-3 years.
Recovering your investment. Yes. No, fair point. It's a fair point. And last question, last word to Leena ji. I think Manoj and Santosh sir, what they are saying is the loyalty and the aspirational value of becoming a blue collar workforce also lies in how much industry pays to them, because obviously comparison comes, oh, white collar guy is earning 25,000, 30,000, I am earning the minimum wage. Why this disparity? Is it because there are profit aspirations from corporates and then they don't want to pay more? Or is it the supply issue because there's so many people available, so you kind of leverage that? So what is the view of the industry in your opinion, how to improve this particular aspect, and hence it becomes more aspirational for people to join the workforce?
As far as large-scale industries are concerned, blue-collared workers and officers, there is separate mechanism to address their salary issues. In the sense, there is collective bargaining. Then, as per the Factories Act, things run, and there are regular agreements of the blue-collared workers, and they get their salary as per their skill sets and as per their, you can say, some are turners, some so as per their skill set, they get the salary. And as far as officers are concerned, performance appraisal mechanisms, they are in place. So there is logic why certain officer is getting more money, or just yesterday joined employee is getting more money than the person who is operating on the machine. There is logic, and this logic is accepted by both the sides. But the question comes in case of, say, where Factories Act or they're applicable, but still it's not possible to practice certain things due to certain constraints, monetary constraints. So it happens with MSMEs that the person who is working on the machine for more than 8 hours probably gets little money than the person who is supervising the whole thing. But these issues definitely they need to be sorted out. And for that matter, as I was mentioning it, that help needs to be taken from the industries who are established industries where professionals are working. They will act as a mentor to resolve such kind of issues. And as far as medium scale industries are concerned, mechanisms are in place. In big industries or even medium scale kind of industries, question remains about micro industries, question remains about startups or what we call it as MSME, but they can be definitely sorted out with the help of professionals. And for that, employee volunteering, as I was mentioning it, that is the key impact, that the people who are experts, who have experience, several years of experience in that field, they can act as a mentor and will be able to help to resolve the issues as such.
No, I think this topic is very important, and I mean, a long discussion can continue to be to cover all the points. But I think so far in the last 1.5 hours, we have been able to cover quite a distance, and I think this will serve very well to FICCI's cause of making the relevant notes and utilizing them in their interaction with the government and other stakeholders to draw out certain policy framework and improving situation from here on. So thank you so much, Dr. Leena, Manojji, and Santoshji. I personally would be interested in learning more from you separately, and I learned a lot today also during the interaction. Thank you so much for your time. Deepak, over to you.
Thank you, Dheerajji. I think this was a very, very enriching, discussion and valuable points, as you said, both presentations as well as thoughts of Mr. Mandalecha and Ameyaji. And I'm sure, this is what we intended to do, that, get more, pick brains of these people who have been working in this ecosystem, and, then go back to government and share these suggestions. So we would certainly be, doing this post MSME week when once it gets over. And deep gratitude to all the speakers for being here, sharing their valuable thoughts. And I hope that we can do much more of this kind of interaction for the benefit of MSMEs. We will be coming back to you soon because we have planned a session on the eve of World Youth Skills Day, which is on 15 July. So we will be doing our program on 14 July. So I would like to reconnect and understand how we can, take your support to do that program. And we have already reached out to state government as well. So we will be doing that. So hopefully we'll soon have a different flavor of discussion, but again, within the skilling realm and domain. So till then, I thank you again. And I also thank all our partners, ACGC, SIDBI, Tata Tele for supporting us for this program. And with their support, we'll look forward to doing more of similar kind of program. In fact, today Prime Minister has announced certain schemes and certain improved version of existing schemes. So that will be an interesting read for everyone on the employment guarantee scheme and some other things which he has under Udyami Bharat program he has launched this morning. So with that note, again, thank you very much. And I will leave a video of our partners be for our audience to watch, and we'll connect tomorrow for our final session, which is on women entrepreneurship, another very vibrant and important subject, especially both from a women participation in the employment and women participation in the entrepreneurship journey. So we'll again have certain set of excellent panelists for tomorrow's session, which starts at 2:30 same time. So I request our audience and anyone of you who's interested to join us for that discussion. Thank you very much. On this note, we close this session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deepak ji.